All right, welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers, and we're joined now, as we will be every week during the football season, by Zac Jackson of The Athletic. Zac, how are you? Thanks for joining me today.
I'm good. We've made it to the end of this preseason journey. So
we have.
I need it. The fan base needs it. The Browns themselves need it. It's time to move forward.
Yeah, and I
whatever
think
that means for this franchise.
I think the thing I'm looking forward to most right now is our Cleveland Media Fantasy Draft on Monday. Are you prepared for this? Are you going to be in person or no?
I didn't know there was an in-person option.
Yeah, we're doing. There's a text that'll go out today. I just set us up with a room at AJ's Urban Grill in Westlake.
Okay, so based on what I think I'll have going on in my life, probably not.
Okay.
But, I need to get out of training camp brain and into the rest of the world. And so if that means another dork fantasy football league, then I will get my brain ready.
I can't wait. All right, let's get to it. I first of all, I haven't actually spoken to you since the Browns officially made the announcement of Deshaun Watson. I know you thought for a while he was going to be the starter. Were you surprised at all based on not only how he played Saturday, which was terrible, but obviously what he said in the media about the fans?
Yeah, because he came out and embarrassed himself again. And this whole thing's embarrassing, and everybody's tired of me saying that, and I'm tired of us saying it too, but I've been right, and this has been 7 or 8 months of complete embarrassment building up to this point, and he does that, and then you turn around and name him. So good luck, Todd. Good luck. Todd's right on one thing. This is his body of work, and we're going to see it when he gets out there. He just can't play anymore, and this is a complete disaster.
It's crazy to me because – and obviously, their whole line is going to be about the things that we don't see, right? In the locker room, in the huddle, whatever it may be. But for the things that we do see, and I'll just talk about the preseason games, and I don't want to read too much into preseason games because obviously, but if he's checking down on just about every throw in a preseason game when there's really no risk, like you throw a pick, so what? It's a preseason game. How does a fan have any faith that he'll do anything different in the regular season when there is consequences?
Well, he won't. He does not have one trait that really scares NFL defenses anymore. I mean, he's still semi-mobile. In the joint practice, he did throw a couple of balls down the field that were nice, and that was as many as he threw on the other 16 practice days combined. So it's going to be a bunch of short passes, Bull. It's going to be a bunch of designed rollout, mixing in some run pass option stuff, but it's not going to be anything out of the ordinary. Now, if the game script calls for it, it's that, but no, this is going to be 8-yard out passes and screen passes and dump offs.
Do you believe Todd Monken when he says, hey, this is not a week-to-week thing, or could you see a scenario where Shador's quarterback by week 3 or 4?
Well, I do believe him in the sense that it can't be. You have to pick a quarterback and you have to go. And like there will be wrinkles to this offense that we haven't seen. There will be a specific plan of attack, and there is time. Honestly, the most important development for this version of the Browns is that they finally had the whole offensive line for the joint practice, and those guys got out there and played because that's the only time in the whole summer they're going to see another team's ones. So there are ways to go here. It's just you're going to get out there in a real game, and you haven't done it. You're going to be doing it for the first time in an unfamiliar and not friendly environment. So, I do think that there's things to like about this offense, and I think that the fact that Judkins could have a good year is hope. I think that Harold Fannin is way under the radar. I think that Watson has shown that he trusts him, and the rookie receivers do bring a different element that just wasn't here. But the quarterback is not good enough to justify playing him. It's not. This is about developing and evaluating those guys. You're not going to go out and contend for a playoff spot, and you're probably going to embarrass yourself. So by the time they get home for week 3, they're likely going to have a big decision on their hands. Because if they were to win either of those games in the first 2 weeks, it'd be a huge upset, right? And if they do, then he at least gets a quarter of equity in week 3. But if they don't, then this powder keg and like 30 years of incompetence comes to the forefront that week.
What do you make of the fact that Shador Sanders is not going to play tonight in the final preseason games?
It's because they can't get him cheered. They can't. Deshaun showed you how fragile he is. It was fragile 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's fragile now. That's what it is. So there is a certain element of you can't get him hurt, and it is time for the other guys to play. And look, in the bigger picture, I totally agree with Todd Monken's decision to not play his guys tonight. They're too thin. You know, they're too thin, and the work they're going to do over 7 or 8 practices they have left before they play a game is more important than anything they would get in tonight. And it's not totally a league-wide philosophy change, but it's kind of how it's happened.
Yeah.
You know, I think across the league, most teams had more than one day of joint practices over 4 weeks of camp. But that's the route that they're going. So this team is just not deep enough. But yeah, to think that the offense is going to be a fine-tuned machine based on what we've seen and the really 0 snaps with the 11 guys who are going to be out there for 8 of the first 10 plays on September 13th, but limited action as a whole group. Like they've just got a lot of work to do.
The headline of your article in the Athletic today is Todd Monken gets closer look at Dylan Gabriel, Taylor Green, and Browns preseason finale, and you talk about the 53-man roster. What give us a little tease of the column and what you think is going to happen in terms of the Dylan Gabriel and Taylor Green. Ultimately.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. It's not conventional to keep 4 quarterbacks. It's something that might happen here.
Okay.
I mean, it would be so embarrassing for them to draft Dylan Gabriel in the top 100 and cut him a year and a half later. But what's embarrassment to this team right now? And then if Taylor Green goes out and plays well and you're worried another team would claim him, then you have to keep him off the waiver wire. So we'll see how that goes. Taylor Green has not had a conventional rookie camp because they continue to do this dance. So he probably isn't going to make it anyway, but he's certainly tantalizing. And he got in for a little bit in the Bill practice, and he made a couple plays, and that stands out in this group. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So that is one of the things you have to decide. And if you would get a trade offer for Dylan Gabriel, you should probably do it because he doesn't have a ceiling, and the way it's been handled here has been unfair to him. It just he's not in the plans. Right. Now at the other spots, tight end, corner, and defensive line are where they need to make additions.
Yeah.
In this group, in terms of who I think they'll get or what they'll do, I think tight end is the one that will play. Like they need to get a blocking tight end, and that guy will be playing in Jacksonville and over the course of the season. And in terms of the other groups, like I think you're looking at guys that you think can be upgrades, and you would hope that you don't need. You're not going to find great players at those positions available now, but you'd be looking at some other guys. So tonight, there's an undrafted rookie defensive end named Corday Sidnor, who's been interesting and now certainly has a chance to make the team that Alex Wright has gone down.
Yeah.
Aiden Huntington and Sam Kamara, these guys are making their last bid to not only make this team, but make another team. In a corner, like Michael Coates is out of nowhere, wasn't even on the team at the beginning of rookie minicamp and has had a really strong summer now. He did get hurt in practice the other day. I don't know what the update is. Yeah. But all of these corners, like none of them have been good enough outside the top 3. And it's really a top 2.5 because Miles Harden is completely unproven. He was fine as a slot corner last year. He didn't do anything spectacular. And you would love to upgrade him. You haven't had the opportunity. So those are the 3 real areas. And then at offensive line, Parker Brailsford has missed almost all of camp because I think he broke his thumb. He has an injury on his snapping hand.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to play tonight. If he's healthy, he's going to be on the team. That means Luke Whippler's not going to be on the team. Zach Zinter is right on the bubble. So these guys are auditioning for other teams and also, forcing the Browns to make a choice on who they would keep. And then they also have to judge that versus getting another opportunity. I think it's gone south quickly for KT Leviston. It's never really gotten off to a start here for Zinter. So the Browns are going to be scouring the waiver wire and the bottom of the trade market looking for an upgrade. Like if Leviston and Zinter aren't worth more development, they got to go try to find someone who is.
How about at wide receiver? Cedric Tillman gone. Is there any chance they could move? Would anybody trade for Jerry Jeudy? Is that possible?
Not right now. I don't think so.
Okay.
No. I mean, listen, everybody has the internet. Cedric Tillman has not even really been on the bubble. He's been on the outside of it, and he hasn't played in the first 2 preseason games. So in theory, tonight's big for him. But as long as everybody else is healthy, he's not making this team. This is big for the Larvitans, Malachi Corley's, Luke Floria, right?
Right.
Guys trying to make an impression. And I'm not sure any of those guys will make the 53. I think the Browns have their 5 and don't necessarily need to keep a 6th. Unless one of these guys really, really impresses, they could, bring them off the practice squad,
right?
If and when necessary. Concepcion is going to be the primary punt returner, for this team, so that takes away a spot. And I think Larvidan can play. I think he needs further development and further strength, and the fact that he's on the outside looking in tells you that they've upgraded the receiving group. But I don't think he's a guy you need to keep on the 53. Now he goes out and returns a punt for a touchdown tonight. that changes. He's going to have a job somewhere in the NFL. So
right.
there are some things at stake. I go back, I think, 12-ish years now. Isaiah Crowell came in the last preseason game and ran for like 100 yards. And it was like, okay, this guy always had the talent. He ended up making the team and having an NFL career.
Yeah.
So, would it have happened without that night? I don't know. But for 15-ish guys, Bull, and probably to a lesser extent an upper number, like this is a huge NFL audition tonight. But the Browns are certainly going to be involved in some trades and some waiver claims from Saturday through Monday.
Circling back to where we started in the quarterback decision, do you believe ultimately that this is 100% Todd Monken's decision and there was no pressure from the front office, or no?
I mostly believe that.
Yeah.
If the ownership was making the decision, why wouldn't they want to play the popular guy? And they know. I mean, it's their money that Deshaun Watson's lit on fire.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They have to stand in that suite and be embarrassed, and they want to do it again. Why? I don't know. So I have a problem with that. I do think in every quarterback decision, it has to be high levels of the organization and not just one guy. In any type of functioning NFL society, the head coach makes this call. Yeah. But it's not supposed to be this complicated, Bull.
True.
And it's not his fault that he was stuck with this guy still even being on the team and being an option. If they were serious about winning it all this year, they would have added or at least given a shot to some other quarterback. They didn't. They're playing for next year. Why they want to put themselves through this humiliation ritual, I don't have an answer. So does Todd Monken want that? I don't know, but he certainly has signed up for it. And all of a sudden, like, this wasn't his battle. This kind of feels like his battle. And all of a sudden we were talking about everything else. And now we're talking about a first-year head coach and all first-year coordinators in a young team in a god-awful quarterback situation. Yeah. I mean, this thing is 3-14 and get on. And we have to judge it how it goes from there.
It is remarkable that this is the situation, but I guess it shouldn't be. And Todd Monken has not endeared himself with this decision, obviously, in his first year. Zach, good stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining me.
See you, Bo.
All right. Zac Jackson from The Athletic. He's going to be on the bullpen every week. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you.